administration is allowing ICE to open an office at Rikers Island to work with city officials on gang and drug cases. Critics, including Black City Council Speaker Adrian Adams, say it aligns New York City with Trump's harsh deportation policies. And LeBron James is becoming Mattel's first ever Ken-bassador with his own Ken doll. Taller than the usual Ken, it features James in a varsity jacket, Beats headphones, and Nike sneakers. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
WBOK online at WBOK1230.com.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Whoa, now. What's happening, good people? What's going on with you? Welcome to Over the Hump Day. Most of you all are getting off work and you ready to go home. Getting ready to get a little bit closer to the weekend, but that's all right. On that drive home, please keep your dial locked in because we got a lot to talk about. We got some things that we need to make sure that we know, and we got company. This is his first time on this program, but not first time that he has been part of this radio station because he's done several things. Mr. Sean Mena, who is the representative for District 23.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine today. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm glad you. I'm glad I saw you. I gotta tell the people, but I was making a point. And I said, was I harsh? Was I harsh?
No, you are not.
Sean, go and tell me the truth.
Look, no, you honestly, you are not. Like the voting public deserves to hear from their elected officials.
I didn't say it that way, though.
But still, you were making a point though. You say, hey, I want to get you on WBOK, so I'm ready to come back, and I'm here. I'm here.
You need to come on and let people hear you.
And personally, I want to say, I remember after I graduated from law school in 2011, when I moved back, and I used to listen to your morning show all the time on WBOK, so I've been a fan. I've been a fan.
No, I'm going to say, poor fella. That's all I'd say to that one. But in all graciousness, thank you for coming. You weren't playing with me because you said, okay.
Yeah, and I want to let folks in the community know that, like, look, invite me to anything you want to see me at, and I will literally show up. I might be bringing my 3-year-old son with me.
That's all right.
But, hey, we'll have a good time.
You know who you look like?
Who?
Freddie King. Because Freddie King would take his son.
He'll bring them children.
Wherever he go, he'll have them going. And, I looked at it and said to myself, I said, much ups to him because, first of all, you got a father that's taking care of his kids. Mm-hmm. Second of all, you got a father that's bringing his sons and is bringing them to these different events so they can see what daddy do.
Exactly.
And also take part and say, hey, look, I'm at least going to be versed on whatever's going on in the community. Even though he can't talk like we talk because he's a child, but at least he'll know what's going on. So,
exactly. So
yeah,
he's been a good brother. I've known him since my days at Southern University Law School as well. So good guy.
Let's talk about you before we get into some of the stuff that's happening and all this craziness that's happening in the world today. But you are now a representative of District 23. What's your boundaries?
Okay, so 23? District 23 consists of Mid-City, Holly Grove, Gerttown, and a little bit of the 7th Ward.
Okay.
So think of major streets being Gentilly, Esplanade, North Broad, Canal Street, Tulane Avenue.
I got one more.
Mm-hmm.
What about Franklin Avenue? That's not in
my district. No, not at all.
Who is Franklin Avenue? What district?
I believe. You know what? That may be Mandy Landry, if I'm not. No. That's probably Candace Newell, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, because I got to tell you, from what I've known Franklin Avenue to be to what it is now is a damn shame.
Yeah.
I have to travel that street just about every week, and I'm looking at cars in front of me, vehicles in front of me that are actually dodging, because it's a 2-lane highway on each side. Mm-hmm. They're actually dodging, going around potholes, raised cement,
right?
Dips in the street that, if your car dip enough, it's going to scrape your oil pan in that area. And what I've known Franklin Avenue to be, and I know this is not your district, and I don't want to be talking about your compadres without them having the opportunity to defend themselves or defend it. But somebody need to say something or do something. I don't know who that person is. Whether it's the city, whether it's the state, whether it is, but it's one of those issues that I just said somebody got to say something other than me.
Yes, sir. I traverse that area pretty much every week because I go get my hair cut around that neighborhood as well. So I see it, and I can't even tell you who the city council person is for that district, but more than likely, it just needs to be a conversation between state representatives, state senators, and city council members in order to get something done.
Right. So let's talk about you, though. I started off that way with you have now been a representative for how long?
I have been a representative for a year and 2 months. So I was sworn in January 8th of last year.
Baby.
Yes, I am. I am the baby of the group.
What made you want to get into that issue? Now, when I said talk about you, this ain't new to you, because you've been working with, the politicians and different districts. Am I wrong in assuming you used to work with the at-large council?
No, sir. So I can give you a quick background.
I was going to say poor you if you did. So,
so I grew up in the 5th Ward, and when we were like murder capital of the world in the 90s, and for some strange reason, being a kid who didn't know any politicians, didn't come from politicians, I would be drawn to watching Meet the Press every Sunday with Tim Russert for some strange reason.
Something's wrong with you, bro.
Yeah, probably so. A lot of people think
something wrong with me too. I watch it too. So, yeah.
Yes, sir. But I would just watch that every week during the 90s when, it was the glory age of James Carville and Bill Clinton being on there, and Mary Magdalene and Tim Russert, like I said. So it had always been something that was in my interest. And graduated from Warren Eastern in 2000, and then eventually went to LSU and graduated with a degree in political science and a minor in African and African American studies. So I immediately went to law school at LSU, as a matter of fact. So went there and had the best year of my life, my first year of law school. Anybody that knows anything about law school, you're not supposed to have the best year of your life in law school.
Well, I was waiting for the explanation on that one.
So I ended up flunking out. So that was May.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was the dun-dun-dun.
Yes, that was May 2005. Wait, it gets better. That was May 2005. What happens August 2005? Hurricane Katrina. Life is in shambles. So I ended up meeting a good friend of mine who's a current state representative, Jason Hughes, out of New Orleans East. He was a intern with then Governor Kathleen Babineau Blanco.
Okay.
So ended up meeting him, and he was able to help me get on as an intern in her office as well. So that's really where my policy journey began. So I started as an intern with Governor Blanco, worked my way up, left to go work for the Louisiana Housing Finance Agency, and then came back as a full-time employee for Governor Blanco during her last legislative session as a policy analyst. And then I left there and went to go work for the Louisiana Board of Regents and the University of Louisiana system as well. So during that time, I got the law school bug again. So I would work during the day, leave for a law school class at lunch at Southern University, come back.
You took it serious.
Yes, sir. And then I would go to courses from 6 to 9 p.m.
You put that
every
much pressure
night.
On yourself.
4 years, finally got the law degree. So, that is my success story. And I always tell kids, persistence overcomes resistance. So anything you want in life, if the Creator, the Lord, puts something in a vision in your head, it's up to you to make it a reality on this earth.
Well, I can imagine how your day went, because you put a lot of pressure on yourself, even when you're doing work in between you studying law.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it literally was all a blur. But you know what? All things that you want, you have to work for it. You have to work for it. And I was willing to put in the work because, growing up in these streets, I know I didn't want what I saw growing up. So I just had to put in the work to change my life circumstance.
What type of okay, so I know that you've been here now in your position for a year and a couple of months.
Yes, sir.
What are you seeing? Because I got to tell you, just having these conversations year after year after year with different legal folks, representatives, folks that have some power within the state, I have never seen us like this. Not only from a state, but even from a nation. I'm like, where are we? And then I know you hear it like I hear it, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful tone to any of your colleagues, but I know that when stuff gets passed that seems to be crazy, the first thing that comes out of a lot of people's mouths is, well, where are our representatives?
Right.
Can you explain that a little bit too? Because folks sometimes don't know their civics.
Exactly.
And don't understand that the majority wins.
Yeah, I was a little too young to actually watch a bill on Capitol Hill
You didn't see
myself.
that
That was before my time,
Don't
but I
make my
did
people
watch
call
it.
you up and sing the song to you, brother.
I did watch it on YouTube though. But basically, we live in a majority rules government, and right now Louisiana is a majority Republican state. They have a supermajority, so they have 73 members compared in the 105 member House. So that means that they don't need one Democratic vote to pass anything.
So it's a super majority.
It is a supermajority. So that's the reality that we're dealing with. And I always encourage people when I'm out speaking, yeah, we can be in this wind tunnel speaking to ourselves, but we need to go out to Avoyelles Parish. We need to go out to Evangeline Parish.
Right.
We need to go out to name another parish to actually speak to people to let them know that we have the same ideals and we want the same things, which is economic development. We want safe communities for our people. So we have to get that message out and not just be in this comfort zone of just being in New Orleans.
So do you think though, and this, I got in trouble, which I usually do, with a couple of the members of the Democratic caucus that are those folks that's supposed to support you all. So you got all of those folks that are running for the different OBDECs for, and what I was trying to tell everybody is, you'll hear about OBDEC here in Orleans Parish, but there is a OBDEC support group for all 63 parishes.
Yes.
So my question has been, and I got folks calling me going, you got a point. My question is, what do they do?
Well, they do a lot in terms of Orleans Parish to actually. Yes.
Okay,
And-
all right, let's take the other 62 or 63.
Well,
What did they do?
So you're asking what do the other parishes do?
Absolutely.
I can't speak to that, to be honest with you. I don't know what Rapides Democratic Executive Committee is doing, but I do know Randall Gaines, our new party chair in Louisiana, he's focused on making sure that each Democratic Executive Committee is actually up and running and able to, whenever we have major elections in the next 2 years for Congress and next 3 years for governor and the entire slate of the state legislature, that we have boots on the ground ready to knock on doors and let people know our values and our positions.
It disturbed me that we had Sean Wilson that ran for governor, and being on the inside looking out instead of the outside looking in, he didn't have the money, nor the support, nor the PACs to put together a winning policy or solution for him. And listening to him when he called into the station, tell me, man, I put 80,000 miles on my car because I'm going all over the state. I'm like, but you going by yourself? You driving?
Right.
So it made me ask the questions, are we really doing the job and supporting and making sure that not just him, I used him as an example, but all the different policies, the different laws that are coming up. This was probably this election that passed was probably one of the only ones that I've seen maybe in a couple of years where everybody got up and said, no, we don't want that.
Right.
What was the difference?
The difference to me.
Yeah, I'm asking you, not to say, okay, here go the numbers,
Right,
I'm asking
right.
your opinion.
The difference to me is that Amendment 3 really brought people out and really got people with ants in their pants. And it seemed like a attack on the youth in our communities. So the mama bears and the dads out there, when they hear that our children are potentially under attack, they're going to go out, mobilize, and engage.
Right.
And also, you had your organizations like Vote and other organizations that really made sure that they were out there pushing the message. And also, I'll give props to our Orleans Parish delegation as well. Folks were out there at community meetings,
Yes.
making sure that they were engaging.
Yes.
So what was different with the last governor's race? Why we didn't have that same motivation? I think you can't divorce the result from the politician.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people who wanna divorce the result from what happened in the presidential election from the politician as well. We as voters like people who inspire us. We like voters. We as voters like people who are engaging. We as voters, most of us grew up in the real world generation,
yeah.
so we want entertainment.
Right.
We want some sizzle with that steak. And if you ain't got no sizzle, we not trying to come to your restaurant.
You're boring.
Yeah,
You just another sound in a room full of many different sounds.
exactly.
You're not being heard.
Right. And I
Exactly.
think the mistake with Democrats nationally, especially, is that, yeah, it's great to be a policy wonk, but do I want to have a beer with you?
And sometime I'm ready. I just got to step out and let you know I ain't the one to be played with. And I think that we have been to the point where we have sat back and just let them play, and they just doing any type of crazy stuff that they want to do. And I think that the average person that is a Democrat is waiting for somebody to say, "Not on my watch."
Right.
But has that happened yet? And what will it take to get that person or persons to do so?
You know who's kind of stepping up and representing, and I really love the post that he posted last night, was Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries?
Yeah, challenging Mike Johnson to a debate. I think, that really showed cojones and like, hey, I want to look you eye to eye,
right.
and let's debate on the issues. So I really like his leadership. He's a dynamic person, dynamic speaker, and that's kind of the people that we need to attract into our party.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing policy section 3A 4-5 is great too, but you gotta have some pizzazz.
Yeah. Let me take Brother Mims real quick here, and then we'll take a break. All right, Brother Mims?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to step on nobody's toes, but I got to say this. I'm 71 years old. I served with Civil Sheriff Paul Valto for 20 years, and I had the honor of being selected by the Lake County Blanco to the Pro Board. And what that said, I'm tired of the people talking about the French Quarter. I know the French Quarter is the jewel of the city, but let me say that I got crime in my neighborhood. I stay in Central City. And when you call the police, they got shootings going on, and nobody comes.
Yeah.
And I got a 6th district. I don't even know who they are. And the other part, I'm telling the police chief, let me tell you something, I don't see what she's doing anything in there, because they got crime in my neighborhood, and people, and they don't see nothing. And I'm saying to her, what they bragging about? So I'm going to get off, and I may step on some toes.
Brother Mims, do you remember me from Victims and Citizens Against Crime?
Yes, I was one of the chairmen on Victims and Citizens.
Yes, sir. We did a lot of good work together.
Yes, and I'm saying this to you, my brother. It ain't good as people think it is. And this city is going to the dog.
Yeah.
And we need some help, man.
Well, I tell you what, Brother Mims, I'm gonna let him address it in just a minute. I got to take my break here. Let me do this, and
All
we'll
right,
come back to
I
it.
love you much.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, more coming up, y'all, with Representative Sean Minna.
Trying to grow your business or increase traffic to your location? We can help. WBOK 1230 AM has a number of solutions that will meet your individual needs. Give one of our consultants a call today at 504-582-9420 or email us at info@wbok1230.com. And remember, an investment with WBOK is an investment in our community. Call
The
today.
New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, right back at you. That's what we do. Welcome back. 504-582-9422 is the number here. My guest today in the building, having some conversation. First time on this show, but we're not going to make it the last. Representative Sean Minna is here from District 23. All right, here we go.
Jordan number.
Ron.
Thank you for taking my call. And I want to announce, as you was talking about the Democratic Party, tonight, Orleans Parish Democratic Executive Committee meeting is tonight. And I'm going to say it publicly, instead of we at the parish or this council trying to find members to stay on, they're finding ways to put people out of the committee, all right? And they flag me with the rules. And this should be a time of unity, not a way to find folks out. So at the end of the day, the public should get a notice to media when this committee meets. So I'm going to put it out, and I hope the folks are listening, because I'll be at the meeting tonight, why we do not, from Orleans Parish Democratic Executive Committee, send notices to the media, mainly WBOK, when we have meetings. So one of the things happened, and I'm a member of this is not the first time, Gerald. I've been saying this over and over again, even saying we have the election. But I'm saying tonight at 6 o'clock, third floor, Orleans Parish Civil District Court, the Democratic Committee for Orleans Parish is meeting tonight. We need to be there, and I'm going to put the challenge out that a notice should be sent out to this community.
What time
One of the things happened with this party, we're not doing our job.
What time
all
is
across America.
What time is it, Ron?
6 o'clock.
6
o'clock tonight.
Where at?
Yes, and at Civil District Court on the third floor in the jury lounge.
Okay.
And I think this is something that needs to happen, and I'm going to remind, and I'm going to get a schedule and send it to the station, because as Democrats, meaning you know how it goes, state rep, we got work to do. And instead of us having internal fights and finding ways to do some things to your members, we should be uniting, because we are in some very tough times and we have some challenges in front of us. So I'd like to say thank you, Sean, for keeping up the work. I remember our first meeting. You promised you was going to do some of the things and serve the community. Keep up the good work. And again, you too, Gerard, keep up the good work. And I will see that WBOK get a schedule for the Democratic Executive Committee meeting in Orleans Parish. Thank you all again, and have a great thing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, love,
Appreciate
brother. Thank you for everything you do, too.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Let's talk about some of this stuff that needs to be discussed, because you're there on the ground floor when those things come out. And then you also see in advance the types of bills that are coming through. And I'm trying to figure out, how many times have you sat down there and said, I need some Anacin, I need some Tylenol, when you see them coming through. Next session starts when?
It starts Monday at noon. We gavel in at noon, and then the governor is going to address the joint members of Senate and the House of Representatives at 1 p.m.
So this could be breaking news, and I'm getting ready to ask you next. What have you seen to make you go, oh, hell no?
Well,
Yeah, I told you I was ignorant, but anyway.
The big thing is one of my state senators, the state senator I believe from North Louisiana, he wants to actually ban fluoride being in the tap water in every parish in the state. And of course, we know that Europe and other countries don't use fluoride, and that's why there's that famous moniker of British teeth, I guess you could say.
Right.
And I think it can be a situation where if you believe that fluoride actually is dangerous, then you can find water without fluoride for yourself. But I think at least you have that opportunity to make that decision for yourself. You shouldn't be able to make that decision for all the members of our community.
Is that for what reason? What has it been explained in the?
There are folks who I believe think that fluoride use in the water systems leads to various diseases, various cancers, and all that good stuff. You got folks who listen to different podcasts and different people that can explain things. And
Isn't that a Kennedy?
Yeah, I don't know if this is a Kennedy thing in particular.
I think that's a Kennedy movie.
So if it is, then that's probably who he got it from.
So fluoride has been in municipal water for 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And has it really caused? Did he have any statistics?
That I honestly do not know. I just saw the headline and I said, you know what, that's interesting. I'm willing to listen to anybody explain to me how it is a negative effect on the community. Like I say, I want to listen to everybody present every bill and give you a fair hearing. And if you have a good point, God bless you. And if you don't, you sound crazy, then, I'm going to have to vote respectfully no.
What do you think, though, that the average person needs to watch out for? Something's going to come, and it's going to come last minute. Because what I found out from a lot of your compadres is that, they don't put those crazy bills in until last minute.
Right. That is a strategy because you want to make sure that the opposition is not able to mobilize their forces and muster their forces in enough time. I would think we should look out for some anti-DEI bills that will negatively affect our community and such like that. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that. Insurance is a big issue.
And that's a conversation that has already started. I think somebody's representative had that conversation last night across the lake somewhere.
Okay.
About insurance. I don't know. I think it was car insurance more so than homeowners insurance.
Yes. So I actually do sit on the insurance committee as well as commerce. Yeah. as well as commerce and labor as well. So we have a lot of bills that are being proposed by my fellow freshman legislators on the other side of the aisle. And what they are trying to do is basically stop people's right to sue. Like if you're injured in an accident, nobody wants to be in that position. Nobody actually wants to be injured, but they want to create methods and methodologies that actually make it more difficult for you to sue.
But the insurance agencies so the insurance agency blames it on the lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
The lawyers blame it on the insurance insurance company. I said insurance agency, but insurance companies. So the lawyers will say that the insurance agency does that number one thing with the three: deny, delay, and whatever the other one was. And that's their motto from doing it every time. But on the other hand, they come back, and the lawyers will come back and tell you that if it's not for us, you wouldn't get a fair deal.
Right.
So which one do you believe?
I honestly believe that insurance defense lawyers and plaintiffs' attorneys, it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. The insurance defense lawyers, they can say they want these changes, but then they're not going to be able to bill. Exactly. So I truly believe that the answer lies somewhere in the middle. insurance rates have been allowed to climb under our current insurance commissioner. He hasn't denied a rate increase as of yet, and that's an issue because these insurance companies, they're making dollars hand over fist, raising rates every year.
Right.
And families are struggling in order to pay their auto insurance, in order to pay their house insurance.
Mm-hmm.
We got elderly folks who are out here who are having to make some difficult decisions about whether they're going to eat literally or pay their mortgage, pay their house bills. So something has to be done. I think that we have to meet somewhere in the middle. Everybody can't get everything that they want. And the plaintiffs bar, they have to. The commercials can be a bit much.
Oh, you think?
It can be a bit much, but
throw your phones up.
But once again, that is freedom of speech.
But I want to go back to what you just said, and that was that meeting that I was telling you about that was over on the North Shore. As you were talking, I was thinking about it. That was with Temple, the insurance commissioner, and you're right. I have not heard him say, "I'm going to deny any insurance company that's coming into Louisiana, this. From what I can gather, and I'm not trying to put you in a position to say, yeah, you agree with me, but he seems to be pro-insurance company instead of constituent that has to buy that insurance and pay for it.
Right. There is a theory of economics that if you allow companies to make their increases, that eventually they'll find a mean and they'll find a level of profitability and be able to provide the service to the citizenry at a reasonable cost. And if you just allow the insurance companies to just raise rates willy-nilly, especially in Louisiana, they're going to do it. Yep. So you can have a carrot, but you need to have that stick too. So I think our insurance commissioner, he needs to start pushing back a little bit on these insurance companies. But his theory is that if we allow them to keep raising rates, then we'll be able to attract more insurance companies, and then that will in
that's
itself
a flawed. I think a flawed equation. Flawed.
Right.
And then the other thing too, which I was thinking about, I was like, well, maybe somebody should write up a bill and submit it about the insurance to allow or not to allow any public representation from Tim Temple on down, that they will not be able to accept any type of dollars from those insurance companies, their relatives, or anybody associated with that insurance company, so that they can have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their war chest for politics. Because if you go and look at the former, because I used to be an advocate for some of it, but I was totally against even the former commissioner, because all you saw when you go to their war chest and start looking is all these insurance companies that are giving them money to run for office.
Right.
That to me should be a conflict.
It has the appearance of a conflict of interest, yes. And I think the way we finance political elections in our country has to be really looked at and thought about, because special interests do rule our politics right now.
And
so
they got a lot of money.
Right. And if you look at other countries or even other states in the country as well, I believe New York has a public financing law where the state provides funding for political candidates, but you get the government that you pay for. And since we don't want to pay for nothing, we're getting the government that we got. So we all have to have skin in the game. We all have to become more civically engaged and civic minded and get engaged in the process.
You have a certain number of bills that you can also put in too, correct?
Yes, sir.
How many have you put in for?
So I put in 5. Basically, we're in a fiscal session, which every odd year we actually are allowed to only submit 5 non-fiscal bills. And a fiscal session basically deals with taxes and anything related to money. Like next year in 2026, in an even year, you'll be able to submit as many bills as you want, but this year we are limited to 5.
Odd years, only 5.
Yes, sir.
Even numbers,
you can
whatever.
do whatever you want. They got some folks that file 30 bills, and I'm like, God bless you.
So, anything in particular we need to be looking for?
Well, there's one that I'm really working on
now,
trying
if you're not ready to tell me,
no,
about
it's fine.
I'm
There's
just saying,
one that
don't because your adversaries as well as those other folks, they do listen.
Hey, and that's fine. I welcome adversaries. I welcome friends as well. That's a part of the process, and I'm built for it. So the big one that I'm pushing this year is HB 587, which deals with online sports betting revenue. Now, anybody that actually watched the Super Bowl that was around here 2 months ago, you see the inundation of commercials dealing with online sports betting. A lot of us have kids or nephews that are unfortunately addicted to online sports betting, and I think that it's a real issue throughout our society, and it's something that we need to make sure that we rein in at least a little bit, similar to what we did to tobacco as well. So the bill that I'm dealing with actually deals with the fiscal aspect of online sports betting revenue, and right now, only 15% of the funds from online sports betting taxes are dedicated to the Louisiana Early Childhood Education Fund. So I want to almost triple that to 40%. Ooh. So I want to make sure that the taxes from this industry, if they're going to be taken from our youth, they need to be given back to our youth as well, and making sure that the children of Louisiana, the next generation that's coming up, that they have a fair shake. And studies have shown that how important pre-K is to a child's development. So I want to make sure that if we can't fund every child for pre-K in this state, darn near all of them need to be going to pre-K on their tax dime.
So you ready for a fight?
Hey.
You know that's going to be a fight, though, right?
I came up in the 5.
And you know they got lobbyists for online betting that are going to be, they're going to be ready for you.
Dumaine and Rendon.
That's where you came up with. Because that's going to be unheard of.
Yeah, but it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing for our children.
But 40%? You willing to negotiate on that, or no, that's what it is?
That's what it is. Master P said there ain't no limit. So there shouldn't be no limit for what we're willing to do for our children.
Right. And how does one come with a fight against you who's taking up for the children? What are you expecting?
Well, of course, more than likely they're going to be cutting a lot of checks to folks as well, just to be able to bend their ear. They're going to be bringing down national lobbyists. There's probably going to be articles written about the proposal as well. So anything negative, look, I'm built for it, like I said, and I'll take anything for our children.
So that's your number one bill. That's what you want.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm hoping to get pushed.
Are you gathering up the caucuses and saying, I need y'all's help on this one yet?
I haven't spoken to them yet, but those conversations are going to be occurring.
You might want to get that one going like quick, fast, and in a hurry, because I see a big fight on my hands.
Yes, sir.
Because one of the things that I've noticed, there was a national story yesterday, I think on CBS. It might be still up on their website. Mm-hmm. There's a national story that there are, I think they said somewhere in the neighborhood of about 40% of young males, and African-American males, a big percentage of them too, are addicted to online betting.
Yes, sir.
And what did not help them anymore is they're talking about online betting, but they're talking more about the apps.
Yes, sir.
So even though that, we talk about online, some people think you're sitting down in front of a computer. Mm-mm. No, the app is right there, and you can do everything on the app. And
it's the gamification of it. It's like a game now.
And what has not been talked about in this online betting issue is the amount of young men, more so than young ladies, that are betting, tripling the number of dollars that they have to bet, that are committing suicide now.
Yes, sir.
So I'm trying to figure out, what is that number that is accrediting online betting to suicide.
Right.
And now I see, of course they have had it all the time. Like, if you're addicted to this, but I have not seen them say, you know what, call the National Suicide Hotline. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I think unfortunately, it's a ill that afflicts young men, especially because a young man's brain doesn't fully develop until the age of 25, and with them being more prone to being addicted to anything, with online sports betting just being right on your phone. And the machismo aspect of young men always sitting around watching sports and did you bet on this? Did you bet on that? It becomes like this social game thing.
And now you got so many different ways.
Exactly.
Did you cover the spread? You got this one. You can parlay. I'm like, wait a minute. You can win, lose a whole bunch of money, too many different ways for us to be able to, especially young men, which you said, as far as them not having the maturity to do so, you can lose your shirt quick, fast, and in a hurry in a press of a button.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, what's the next one?
All right. So one of my big things is economic development and being able to provide opportunities for people to be able to get work.
Economic development here?
Yes, and throughout the state as well. So especially with those who have been previously incarcerated. So one of the bills that I'm proud that I was able to pass last year in my first session was a bill to remove the phrase moral turpitude from licensing standards.
Yes.
Do you know what moral turpitude means?
Yes.
It's not even defined.
So it's not.
Exactly. It's not even defined in our state statutes. So an employer potentially could have looked at somebody who was qualified on paper, but maybe made a unfortunate decision while they were young and say, okay, we're going to deny this person from being able to get this license that would be able to change their life, support themselves and their family because of some, moral turpitude, a phrase that isn't even defined. So I was able to get that pulled from the statute. So I'm trying to go a step further this year. Right now, folks that are previously incarcerated, currently, employers are actually prohibited from hiring a licensed or non-licensed person in the ambulance field if they have been convicted of certain offenses.
Right.
So my bill would actually allow for those who had previous convictions to at least be considered to be hired for those positions. So it's not a mandate saying, hey, if you have to hire people that have been previously convicted of these offenses, but it's saying you have the right to hire them if you feel like it wouldn't hinder their performance of the job.
So one of the things I want you to do, which you may not know, but that's why I saw you. Because I work with sheriff, so I'm doing a lot of work over at Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. And one of the things, too, that I'm seeing in there are these inmates that are getting ready to get out, but they're doing all their reentry programs. And one of those reentry programs is these young men that want to become barbers. And they have a barber school now. They got an actual barber that's coming into the jail and teaching these young men how to cut hair. You got to come see it. You got to come see it. That's your official invite right there.
Yes, sir. I would love to.
But the problem that I'm hearing from a lot of folks is the fact that if you're a barber, if you're fixing hair, you got to have a license. State of Louisiana will not give you a license if you have been in jail that way.
That's a problem.
So I want you to look at that one, but I want you to come see.
Yes,
I really do. You want to take the break? Let's take the break. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. Representative Sean Mena in here for another couple of minutes. I invite all of you to get in on the conversation. 504-582-9422 is our number. More coming up next.
New Orleans, are you ready? A fresh voice in the city is here, bringing you the beats, the culture, and the stories that matter. From local music and food to real talk on what's happening in the streets, we've got you covered. Stay tapped in. Follow us on all platforms at WBOK 1230 for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your city, your culture, your news. Don't just hear about it, be about it. Follow us at WBOK 1230 now.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
New Orleans, if you know a young adult or you are a young adult, listen up. This is your chance to level up your future.
Job One's Young Adult Career Expo is going down April 16th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 1307 Oritha Castle Haley Boulevard.
Put on your best outfit, grab your resume, and meet employers from across the city.
Some of them might even hire you on the spot.
This is your moment. Get ready with Job One. Tell a teen, tell a cousin, tell everybody 16 and up. Register now at job1nola.org.
Paid for by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act.
WBOK. Listen now on WBOK1230.com.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Ooh, great conversation happening with Representative Sean Minna from District 23 right here in the city. 504-582-9422 is the number to call to have a one-on-one with him. You ain't scared.
Let's make it happen.
Where you from?
The Fifth Ward, Dumaine and Rendon.
I heard you say Dumaine and Rendon, bro. I was like, what? We were talking a little bit off air. One of the things, too, that bothers me is the fact that we have certain areas of the state where I can broadcast, put on the internet, you can see 17-year-olds' criminal records. Mm-hmm. East Baton Rouge Parish, Shreveport, which is what, Caddo Parish,
yep,
and New Orleans. Majority African American. But if I do something and I'm 17-year-old in St. Bernard Parish,
mm-hmm,
St. John the Baptist Parish, or I think St. John the Baptist is actually getting ready to be put on there too, but St. Tammany Parish, no.
Right.
To me, that's discriminatory.
And it screams to the fact that sometimes our youth aren't allowed to make the same mistakes as other youth.
Yep.
And they're all kids.
Yep.
Like I stated earlier, especially with young men whose brains don't fully develop until the age of 25.
Mm-hmm.
We all make mistakes. No matter what color you are, you're going to make mistakes. But you should not be punished for your mistakes more if you're a certain ethnicity and less if you're another ethnicity. It should be all fair. That should be the way that our laws are crafted and created throughout this city, this state, and this nation. We have to make sure that we are equal under the American flag. And if folks aren't being treated equally, that is a potential civil rights issue.
Mm-hmm. You're seeing now, too, maybe not on the local level, but on the national level, you're starting to see a lot of these representatives that are in Washington, D.C., whether it's their congressman or a state senator, holding town halls.
Mm-hmm.
And in them town halls, you start to see a lot of people act up.
Right.
They're talking about their finances. They're talking about them getting losing their jobs. They're talking about the farming, all the different issues that they put them in there for that. You know, they voted for them.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we headed, and what's the plan, too? Because I know you got to look at it and say, it ain't come here yet, but it's coming.
Right.
Especially with the governor that is, you know, I mean, that's almost like his son.
Right. I think on a national scale, there's going to be some reverberation and pushback to the extremist policies that have been put forth by the Trump administration. And you're going to experience some of that blowback on the state level as well. I think folks were looking for a change post-Biden. They wanted an old feeling that they had. They wanted that comfort that Trump actually provided for them when he was basically giving out paychecks and it was a comedy show every day.
Yeah.
But with that comedy show, there was a lot of tragedy as well.
And comedy went away now.
Yeah, now the tragedy is here, and folks are remembering that again. But we got 3 more years.
Yeah.
So the goal is, I don't blame people for winning. I blame us for losing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to figure out a strategy next time to really allow the strategy and the process to play out, because the Republicans, no matter what you want to say about them, they have a messy process.
They got a strategy,
and they let everybody run for president. And lo and behold, who won? Donald Trump. For the past 2 election cycles, 3 election cycles, the Democratic side has really just put their thumb on the scale for who they wanted to run.
Right.
Joe Biden should have been finishing his 2nd term if they wouldn't have put their thumb on the scale and said, "No, Joe, we don't want you to run. We want to make sure Hillary gets in." So we need to have that messy process too. Whoever wins wins. If you want to win, go out there and win.
Okay. All right, Wesley, what you say? Wesley?
Hey, Gerard, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm fine. Look, I just wanted to call in and publicly commend Representative Mean. I've been laughing for the last 10 minutes when he was talking about his bill, and you were talking about how he's going to have to fight, and he said he's on Rendon, so he's ready to fight. That's the kind of leadership that we need. The numbers don't support a lot that's in the best interest of our community, but we got to fight anyway. So we definitely want to appreciate that, and I want to commend them for that. Something you said, Gerard, about the bill, about individuals trying to get licenses, particularly the barber license, how there's a prohibition against that. Sean, when you get a chance, look up my history. Sometime between 13 and 15, I filed a bill and passed it to undo exactly what Gerard is talking about. What it did was that if you had a record, but your record had nothing to do with the job you were applying for, they could not use that against you. Mm-hmm. And we passed that bill, and that bill was actually signed. I don't know the status of it now. I don't know what's happened in between, but that might be a good place to start with the bill that Gerard is talking about. Y'all keep fighting, man.
So wait before you hang up. You're telling me that you did this bill. Do you know what the he hung up. Yeah, he hung up. I'm just trying to get the number. You know,
it's easy enough to look up though, so it's fine. It's fine.
I'm lazy, bro. I'm trying to get the number from him. I ain't want to do that.
I'm gonna find it and send it to you. It's all good. It's all good.
What are you expecting here? Monday, you got to go in here. I know when you walk through the door. Are you looking forward to it, or are you going to look at it and say, "Here we go"?
I am, and I'll let people know how I look at life, and you know, you can't have permanent enemies, you can't have permanent friends, and in between the aisles at that state capitol, even if folks are far right, some folks that people would call crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I still make sure that I shake their hand, look them in the eye, and have genuine conversations with them. Because everybody represents 42,000 people in that House of Representatives, all 105 of us, and those folks are a representation of their community. So they deserve that respect. Mm-hmm. So I want to have conversations and make sure that they understand where I come from and the people that I represent. And if I'm going up there, you know, it just doesn't look good.
Right.
So I always believe that, and I hope Democrats can be this, is cheerful warriors. You know, we can't be sullen about it like, oh, I don't want to go there. No, like let's go up there ready for the fight, have a good time, and let's le bon temps roulette.
What is it though that can be done? Because I know that a lot of folks have said that they go to see if a bill is going to pass. I also saw this pastor out of Baton Rouge, and he used to bring all of his members with him. They used to get on the bus and come up there and sit up there in the balcony, and they had on those yellow T-shirts, and those yellow T-shirts says, "I'm watching you," because they wanted to get their bills passed, and they were, you know, they were all about, you know, getting abortion thrown out and all the other things. It was the evangelists. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out what folks can do. You know, do we come? If I know Sean is getting ready to put together this bill and he's getting ready to have this fight, do you have those folks to come and say, let me sit up here in the balcony? see who's gonna go against you, or are you on your own?
Pretty much. This is what I'll be fully transparent. I need to get better at as a legislator, and I'm just still in my second year, so I'm trying to figure out that whole coalition building aspect, making sure that I get the agitators or the folks
you just did.
Yeah,
because you got here today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you let me know. My middle name is Agitator. And we'll get to agitating.
Exactly, and that's what I need. And look, I get up every day and I learn. I'm not perfect. I didn't come into this world perfect. Right. I'm not going to leave this world perfect. So that's really one thing that I'm trying to get better at as a legislator. And all the other folks that we have in the Orleans delegation have been awesome, wonderful mentors to me. From Jason Hughes, Matt Willard, Delisha Boyd, Candace, Mandy's been awesome as well.
Yeah, you got
Knox. Yeah, we got a good crew. We actually have an amazing crew. Yeah. Amy Freeman as well. I want to shout her out too. But yeah, we have a strong crew. And that's the one thing I want to leave the folks of our city with. We have strong folks that are sacrificing their livelihoods to go up there every day and fight for our city. So if you live in the city of New Orleans, you got a heck of a representative.
Very good.
And shout out to the senators too.
Folks that want to get in contact with your office.
Harris.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just shouting out to Senator and Gary Carter too.
Folks that want to get in contact with your office may have some things that they want to bring to the table for you. How do they do so?
All right. So they can reach out to the office. The number is 504-396-4105. Once again, that's 504-396-4105. And if you want to shoot me an email, it's hse023@legis.la.gov. G-O-V. hse023@legis.la.gov. And you can find me on Instagram too, Sean Mena, ShaunMena, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
What day do you think they're going to do your introduce your legislation?
I have no earthly idea, but look, when I find out, I'm gonna give you a
let
holler.
me know so we can broadcast it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I mean, we have the ability to bring it up and put it on the air.
All right,
so
that's love. That's love.
I told you, man. You just don't know where you at.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
but
sir.
Come back.
Yes,
come
sir.
Back
Nah, this ain't gonna be the last time. I appreciate you seeing you at the event, and we connected, and this is how it was meant to be. You know.
Yeah. Very good. Sean Mena, y'all, your representative from District 23, the representative that's getting ready to make a whole bunch of noise up in Baton Rouge. I put that all on you, bro. I put that all on you.
Love.
All right, news is up next, y'all. More coming up.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Michelle Obama is denying divorce rumors, saying people mistook her independent choices as marriage trouble. She and Barack have both acknowledged challenges but remain committed after 32 years together. Wall Street is closing with stocks sharply higher after President Trump announced a 90-day pause on some tariffs. Stocks rose immediately after Trump unveiled the news on Truth Social. This caused the Dow Jones Industrial Average to have its biggest rally in 5 years. Virginia Beach schools in Virginia voted 6-3 to suspend DEI programs to comply with a Trump administration order linking federal funding to the removal of such initiatives. Superintendent Don Robertson expressed concern, saying the mandate puts his job at risk. And Gertrude Teresa Hodges, the first black graduate of the Johns Hopkins School of Nursing, passed away on March 28th at her home in East Baltimore. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Want to thank Representative Minute for coming in and having some conversation with us. That was a good conversation. Looked like some big things, but coming out this way, and we need to make sure we support them too. All right, 504-582-9422. I got to talk about this craziness happening out of Washington, D.C. Yeah, I know. So your president done come back after we've seen at least, $2 to $3 trillion of money leave the stock market. People losing 30% of their 401ks. And now he's come back and said, oh, we're going to put a 90-day pause on these reciprocal tariffs. Everybody except China. And the stock market takes off. Ooh, look at all the money that's being made. So, somebody help me out with this one. Look at all the money that's being made. I said that for a reason. Am I the only one? Am I by myself? And looking at this and seeing the stock markets hit rock bottom. The number of dollars that were lost were $2 trillion plus. The cost per share for major corporations hit rock bottom as well. And then we're going to hold your tariffs for 90 days and the stock market go zooming back up. So what are you thinking, Gerard? With a T? What I'm thinking basically is somebody just got rich. And I want to know how many of them are associated with this president. Because we're trying to figure out for what reason did he give a 30-day reprisal for these tariffs, except buy low and sell high. So if you bought some stocks during this time that we saw the stock market at its lowest point, and then all of a sudden he says, oh, by the way, we're going to do 90 more days. Well, the stock market went crazy. Boom, bam. So everybody made some money. So what did I find out in this whole issue of our stock market? That it only takes one man to say we're going to put a tariff and the percentage of tariffs 10% or higher on all major goods coming from everywhere other than the United States. And then we get retaliatory taxes, which are tariffs. But I'm looking at it and saying to myself, when is this going to kick in? It's more likely going to kick in within the next 2 months. But during this time, we've seen the stock market fall to the bottom of the flow. And it's only one man that has the ability to do that, and that's Trump. He said, yeah, we're going to put it, and then said, oh, by the way, we're going to put 106% tariff on China. So everything just about comes from Vietnam and China, right? I was looking at the cost of hiring somebody here, which is more than likely $35 an hour at some factories. And the same factory that is in China, they pay them $1.24 an hour. That's why you saw all of your major components, major factories, assembly lines, and all of that move to other parts of the world. They don't have the same issues that we have here as far as pay raises or hiring folks or what you get per hour employment. But what bothers me in this whole scenario of issues is that even Donald Trump went on Truth Social and said, time to buy low. What? Time to buy low. Now, maybe I just don't care about this man and I don't care about the issues as far as what he's saying, because I think that he's going to bankrupt the whole United States of America and make everything just go haywire or put us in a recession. But what is bothering me about this is I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I think that somebody has gotten to him and said, make the stock market go down to its lowest point so that we can buy some major stocks, buy low, sell high. And all you have to do is say, oh, by the way, we're going to have tariffs, and we're going to put this tariff on everything. Guess what? The markets are going to react. And they did. We heard within, 2 days that we had gone to the lowest stock market price that we had seen since COVID. By just saying you're going to put a tariff on something. You get to a rock bottom price on some of these stocks. And then all you got to do is have a news conference and say, oh, and by the way, we're going to put a 90-day hold on these products coming from all the countries in the world except for China. I think this is a big setup. I really do. But how do you say he doing something illegal? Because he's not. You trying to tell me that this country gives that man that much power to shoot your stock market price down to its lowest point in years? And then all of a sudden, all I got to say is, oh, yeah, we're going to put a 90-day hold on those tariffs. And it shoots back up. But how many people bought that? Well, Gerard, that's just how it goes. That's how the stock market goes. You're supposed to buy low and go high. Buy low and let it go high. But you got control of that. You know what this just reminded me of? This just reminded me of the movie with Eddie Murphy and the two multi-billionaires that were on the stock market. What was that, Trading Places? That just reminded me, how did you make the prices of all these stocks go down to the lowest point, and then all of a sudden you buy low and sell high? For a bet of $1. I'm just saying. T-Bone.
Funny you should mention that $1 and then put me on. Huh?
Yeah, I just wanted you to know them 4 quarters sound good.
Well, I got news for you. I ain't bet you on this. honestly.
No.
But I could have, because honest to God, I really think that's what the inside game is. I think that he's setting it up for big business to swoop in and buy up stuff cheap. He's not really interested in rebooting manufacturing in this country. Let's get this straight, folks. This man is a businessman first. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, he wanted to get reelected to keep out of jail, to continue to have immunity, and for stuff to go away. But he's always been a businessman first. Some people say con man. I give you that. But he's always was looking at business first. He did something similar to this in his first administration. This is not new. The only difference is he did it on a more extreme scale this time around.
Mm-hmm.
This is how stocks work. When something happens with a company and the stock plummets, people that have the money to invest and that have that killing, how should I put it, killer instinct to go after that company's stock. Buy. Stock market has been plummeting since he started with the first tariffs, the very first tariffs. Now, it is plausible that that's what he's pulling off here. The biggest fire sale you ever seen. A bunch of companies bailing, a bunch of investors bailing. So what happens is it stays low for a while. And then the people that's got money to throw at the game get in the game and buy like crazy.
Buy low.
Buy low. You understand? Stocks that were $200, $300 all of a sudden go down to $1 or to what's known as penny stocks. Google it, okay? The other part of this is this. China. You know how he told Zelensky, you don't have the cards? People, China got all the cards.
Mm-hmm.
If you look up what is made out of China, you will lose your mind. You will be trying to speak Chinese once you realize what was coming out of China.
Well, hold on there. Hold on. Let me kind of add a little bit to your conversation piece, because I don't know if everybody understands this or not. But the United States of America is in $34 trillion of debt.
To China. There's
China
one thing.
holds
Keep going.
China holds the lending power to the United States and has the ability to call those loans.
Repeat that figure one more time, please, brother.
We messing with
How
the
much?
bank.
How much is it?
$34 trillion.
That means they own us. Us. We don't own them. Trump can say that they were kissing his ass all they want. $1 trillion. The person that's owed the $1 trillion owns you.
34 of them.
And think about this a second. If you got an iPhone in your hand while you're listening to me on your radio, you got Apple products. Guess where some of the parts come from?
Some of them come from Africa. Some of them come from China. Some of them come from other parts of the world. But the part of that iPhone that makes it work come from China.
Hello. Thank you. All these people that wait in line when that Apple phone come out or when those Apple computers come out for hours and hours on end, you go run to that Genius store. Guess what? China owns you. See, and this was the things that we kept talking about before the election. I just saw this little viral thread of Kamala Harris saying the same thing in debate after debate, interview after interview. He is going to cause inflation. and ruin the economy of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The woman said it over and over and over. All you saw was a woman trying to get into the presidency. All you saw was, oh, she's Biden's people. All you saw was, oh, she don't come to the black community. She don't do stuff for the black community. How much crap has Trump done for the black community? Can y'all talk that trash now? You seen Trump come to a black barber shop and come talk to you about the problems that's affecting the black community?
I got one better for
you. Ever hear him talk to Tavis Smiley about the black agenda?
I got one better for you. All those black men that were in there, Trump, the senator,
hello,
none of them got any cabinet positions. Not one of them.
I said that a week ago, G. I talked about that a week ago. Byron Donalds ain't get nothing. Tim Scott ain't get nothing. None of them.
Nope. Not a one.
None of them. So how you figure? Oh, I got another one for you, and this might be wrong to say, but it's true. All them folks that didn't want to vote for Biden because of the war with Israel and Palestinians, that said, I'm not going to vote for Biden for the war. Has it changed anything?
No, they're putting them down in Venezuela in the jail now. So.
Yes. See, that was his plan from the get-go.
Moving them
to
out.
Sit up there and label any foreigner, in his opinion, as a terrorist.
You don't even have the right to go to court and stop them. They put you on a plane. Next thing you know, you've been over with handcuffs on, going into a jail in another country.
This poor man that got put in jail that they keep talking about, he is a father and a husband, and he's a brother with autism. My heart goes out to him as a father dealing with children with autism. He had a tattoo for his brother who is suffering from autism on his own. That's what got him put in that Venezuelan jail. Nothing else. He has zero record. He is not associated with those gangs. They come back and say it's an error. Oopsie. But he's already there. We can't get him back. Who's next? The good doctor this morning or the other morning said the same thing. Who you think is next? Go back to Africa.
Yes,
y'all really had it so twisted. All y'all black men that got mad with Obama for calling y'all asses out. Now say something. I don't hear a damn soul saying nothing about it. This is what really makes me mad. Y'all have the sense and don't want to use it. What I keep saying. No common sense.
It will be all right. Let them find out what common sense is. All right, T-Bone, I got to run.
Yeah, but now we got to watch ourselves. Take it easy, y'all.
All right, talk to you in a minute. More coming up, y'all. We got to take a break.
On the next edition of The Way Forward, mental training specialist Dejanay Green will join me to discuss recognizing trauma in our lives and figuring out how to bounce back. Join me on The Way Forward this weekend on WBOK 1230 AM or streaming live at WBOK1230.com and the Play Old app. It's The Way Forward with Eddie Francis, Saturday at 3 p.m. on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed, stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartan Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. The times that we live in. Something else, too, I wanted to talk about that I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you all got a chance to see it, but it made national news as well, talking about New Orleans. After the, I guess, the terrorist attack with the truck and the terrorist on New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. The story made CNN as well on today. It said most of New Orleans' Bourbon Street should be closed off to vehicles, creating a permanent pedestrian plaza. That's what the report recommends. 3 months after a truck plowed into a New Year's Day crowd, killing 14 people and injuring at least 35. Said the tragedy took place in the city's bustling French Quarter, which had no strong barriers to protect the area, but from speeding vehicles like 6,000-pound truck. The report released by the New Orleans Police and Justice Foundation said an elevated threat environment demands a new security approach for the French Quarter for everyday business operations. The mass killing raised questions about how the city secured Bourbon Street and how a heavy-duty truck was able to drive onto one of the most pedestrian-heavy roads in the United States. The report was prepared by global consulting firm Teneo, whose risk advisory arm is led by former New York Police Department Commissioner Bill Bratton. And the review was carried out by a risk assessment team composed of a group of counterterrorism and police experts who conducted dozens of interviews. The assessment found Bourbon Street is extremely vulnerable to vehicle ramming attack any time of year, and that such attacks remain a persistent security threat. The city's staffing shortages, inadequate vehicle barriers, along with weak interagency coordination and collaboration, have challenged its ability to address growing threats, said the report. The New Orleans Police Department should establish a plan marking the locations of vehicle barriers throughout the city and covering key intersections, while also considering placing all available metal barriers throughout the city. It also recommends that the police department review its officer placement along the parade route and throughout the French Quarter to ensure that officers are regularly positioned throughout the routes rather than grouping together and leaving several blocks without police personnel. Additional officers should be placed at key locations to create a highly visible show of security and overall sense of safety. Trash bins should be removed from parade routes, it continues, due to the risk of a nefarious actor placing a weapon or IED along the route. In a statement, the NOPJF said the loss of innocent lives, the terror unleashed upon our beloved city, and the enduring pain felt by countless families demanding nothing less than an honest evaluation of our security system, our community's trust, and our law enforcement practices. The statement acknowledges progress is needed and says some of Tenio's suggested security measures should only be implemented after careful consideration for the needs of the citizens of our unique city. The attack came after a private security firm warned in 2019 report that the risk of terrorism in the French Quarter, specifically mass shootings and vehicle attacks, remained highly possible while moderately probable. That 2019 report strongly recommended safety structures known as bollards, vertical posts that can be anchored in place or moved up and down, be fixed and improved immediately. In addition to the missing sturdy bollards, which were under repair, the city's portable steel barriers were in a down position during New Year's celebrations, CNN previously reported. The attacker visited the city twice in a month's time prior and used MetaSmart glasses to film the street and plan of attack, according to the FBI. Jabbar, a 42-year-old Army veteran who had pledged allegiance to ISIS, drove a pickup truck into the crowd after 3 a.m. and then opened fire. The vehicle ultimately crashed into a cherry picker forklift, and Jabbar was killed in a shootout with the police. Mayor LaToya Cantrell held a news conference Monday to announce public safety measures ahead of the city's French Quarter Fest, which will begin on Thursday and last through Sunday. Road closures will be in place throughout the French Quarter, banning vehicles on Bourbon Street, along with several others. We are built to host and ready to show the world that we are a welcoming, safe city and open for business, says Cantrell. All right. Well, so the recommendation is to keep Bourbon Street as a walking area, no cars. But of course, some folks are saying we need to be able to get our vehicles in there to load up the bars, load up with the resources that are needed so that they can sell their beers, so they can sell their sodas, so they can sell whatever it is that they need to sell. And so at some point in time during the day, they're going to have to let those vehicles get in there. Which time of the day that will be, I don't know. What did bother me about this story, and I need to talk about it, is I understand, too, how important Bourbon Street is to the city. I'm not going to be just so pro to the point where I'm like, well, y'all don't do this for the rest of the city. At some point in time, that probably will come out. But there's something about this assessment that makes me ask the question. Y'all trying to tell me that we had to go all the way to New York and probably had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars and we have one person locally that we could depend on to do an assessment on how you can make this area of the city safe? You trying to tell me that we got all these professionals and there's nobody that could tell me, you know, we need to make that a walking plaza? We got all these professionals. And there's nobody that could tell me, you know, you need to cut off Bourbon Street from the French Quarter. You should be able to stop driving all the way through. Because if I really want to get on Bourbon Street, all I got to do is go on another street and I can turn right on it. You ever been on Bourbon Street when you're all getting ready to cross? It's vertical, so you're going up and down, but there are parallel streets that cross Bourbon Street. So when you get ready to cross Bourbon Street, you got to look out for the car that's coming the other way. Right? So how y'all going to do that? Because you got businesses on the corner of whatever street that is and Bourbon. You going to cut them off too? If I'm one of those businesses that's on the corner of Bourbon and another street, I'm a little bit worried. Like, wait a minute, you cutting off the people from being able to come to me. Well, they can walk through. But if I go back just a few minutes like I was, I still got to say, y'all trying to tell me that there was nobody in the state of Louisiana that we could have hired, probably for a whole lot less money, to be able to tell me, y'all need to make that a walk-in plaza. That's it? All right, here go another one. How many of you have also said, watch how you have all these officers gathered together on these parade routes? Because they look like they got 3 and 4 of them all stuck together, sitting out there talking, not paying attention to the parade route. That's what you said. Well, guess what came out in this assessment? They not only talked about Bourbon Street. He said, oh, that 2019 report, that risk of terrorism in the French Quarter, specifically mass shootings and vehicle attacks, remain highly possible while moderately probable. It also recommended safety structures known as bollards, vertical posts that can be anchored in place or moved up and down, be fixed and improved immediately. In addition to the missing sturdy bollards, which were under repair. Now that part I put in a highlight, which were under repair. The bollards we had were under repair? They were? For what? We won't use them? Oh, was I supposed to say that? Not only that, if they were under repair, y'all must have worked on them all night that night, because the minute that somebody said that we didn't have them out, they were out the next day, weren't they? They were under repair. The city's portable steel barriers. Because I could have sworn the next day, that next morning, I saw the man that made the bollards, the company, the man that owned the company that makes them, he was on the news talking about some, yes, they have them, but they don't use them. So this story makes me a little bit anxious and how it's being perpetrated, as in we had to bring in somebody from New York City and a company from New York City to be able to tell us that we need to change Bourbon Street into a walking mall area, and that there was nobody else that could do the assessment of what needed to be done, and that these bollards were under repair, but they were out the next morning. And then your police chief said, I didn't know that we had them. Oh, shut up, Gerard. Just shut up. You're always trying to start something. I didn't know we had the damn things. I don't understand how we get caught up. Well, you know what? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. No, let me rephrase that. I shouldn't even say that. And the reason why I shouldn't say that is because sometimes things are put on people's fears. Oh, I gotta tell you what happened. I think I told you, but I'm gonna tell you what happened. So, the night of Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, when we do the walk, you know, at the end of at 12 o'clock midnight on Fat Tuesday, law enforcement walks from Canal Street all the way through the French Quarter on Bourbon Street. That was my first time doing it this past year, and the reason I did it, I was working with the sheriff, so I walked with the sheriff. Those people that are on Bourbon Street, which were hundreds and thousands of people, they were moving out the way when they saw that line of law enforcement coming in. They were clapping for them, giving them, you know, thank you for your service, thanks for keeping the city safe. They gave them a lot of props. But when I say operating on people's fears, as we were walking down the street, y'all know what I was doing? I was walking and looking. But I was also turning around, trying to see what's behind me, making sure ain't nobody else coming down that street with no vehicle. Because we were in the middle of the street. And then, of course, turn around and, you know, look ahead, turn back around, make sure ain't nobody behind you. I was turning around to make sure that we're ahead because the horses were in front of us. So you know you better be looking ahead when the horses in front of you. Because that ain't no joke to be walking and then all of a sudden you be like somebody saying, you need to move, watch out, watch out. Or you see the whole line of police officers split down one side in the middle. But why are you talking about this story, Gerard? I'm glad that somebody asked me that. When will the city council, state representatives, commissions, all get together to start talking about how we're going to put together the next area of New Orleans to become an area that people want to go? Well, what do you mean, Gerard? When are we going to have that conversation? Everything can't keep going to the French Quarter. I'm sorry. Oh, well, that's the Mecca. Let it be the Mecca. But what's your next Mecca? Everything that I put in my tax dollars, I want to see go in my area. In my area. I don't want to see all of my tax dollar money just going into an area that don't even want me to have a business there. Can't say that they do. The statistics show that you don't. The statistics show that you do not want my folks, my people, to have businesses there. And anybody that want to debate me on that, call me. I don't care. Because the statistics tell me that we only have less than 1% of 1% as far as business owners in that area. Why is that? You want to see crime go out the window? Start letting some of these folks that have skills, they got talent, they got skills, start putting together their business plans. Or if they can't put together a business plan, give me the folks that can help them do that. What's going to be the next area of New Orleans that we're going to have as a Mecca? Should it be down Claiborne underneath the bridge? Hell, y'all put the bridge in the black community anyway that cut down all the businesses. That was even before I even got here, and I still know that story. I done heard about all the great trees and the great magnolias and the stuff y'all had in the neutral ground and cut them down and put a bridge up. And that bridge was supposed to run through the French Quarter. I don't know how many folks knew that. It was supposed to run by the lake. I'm sorry, by the river. But it ran through the area that was the most blackest. We call it I-10. What did that do? It took the traffic in that area and put it up higher than your business. So the traffic that was running through those areas of town, which was Claiborne, where you had all those African-American shops, are now going bankrupt because there's no traffic coming through there. So what did that do? It made an area that was thriving desolate. So what's going to be the next area of town? So since you went on ahead and put that bridge up, why aren't we doing something to allow those folks that are, I would say, fathered into that area? They own businesses, they own homes, or in that general area and have been there for a certain number of years. I don't know how many that would be. So let's put together businesses underneath the bridge. That's where we collect anyway. You been out there on a Super Sunday? You been out there on a Mardi Gras? You can't tell me we can't make the best of it, but you got to allow them to do it. More so than anything, we send the cops out there to try to shut them down. Riding around in the cars with the blue lights on and siren at 1 mile an hour. So what do? What's the next Mecca of New Orleans for business to help those areas that need it the most? Like the Lower Ninth Ward. Who's going to come? Well, they ain't coming out there, G. Oh, really? I thought the old saying said, you build it, they will come. Well, it's already been proven. It has not. It has not been proven. Yes, it has. No, it hasn't. Well, we tried to put together economic development out there in the Lower Ninth Ward, and they done already closed their doors. That's not economic development for me. Y'all built what is that, a CVS? Not a grocery store, but a CVS store. That's it. And they shut their doors. And if you go around and start looking right now, and you can Google it yourself, they ain't the only place that CVS is setting their doors down now. CVS is closing up their stores all over the country. Oh, I ain't supposed to tell you that, huh? Yes, indeed. Well, coming up, y'all, let's go ahead on and take a break here. We'll come back in the final few minutes.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris. At 12:01 a.m., Trump's new round of tariffs officially detonated, slapping imports from China with a staggering 104% tax and igniting what's shaping up to be a global trade war with no off-ramp in sight. China didn't blink. Instead, it hit back, more than doubling its tariffs on U.S. goods from 34% to 84%. The ripple effects instant. Wall Street tumbled, global markets bled trillions. J.P. Morgan's CEO, Jamie Dimon, is already bracing for a recession, warning that a downturn is now the likely outcome of this economic brinkmanship. The Dow dropped over 2,000 points and Treasury yields spiked, classic signs of investor panic. And this isn't just about China. Trump's Liberation Day tariff plan now affects more than 60 countries with new import duties. And it's not over. Trump hinted that pharmaceuticals could be next in line for tariffs. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
deceitful, exasperating, incompetent, and just right out lying are all words that come to mind when thinking about the Trump administration's attempt to explain how a high-level classified war conversation about a planned U.S. military bombing attack against the Houthi terrorists in Yemen ended up on an unsecured private chat app called Signal. The document ended up being sent to the chief editor at Atlantic Magazine. And that, my friends, is jaw-dropping. The Atlantic revealed that the planned attack in Yemen was being discussed in text messages among National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, members of the intelligence community, and other Trump administration officials. Defense Secretary Hegseth and the White House, among others in the group, scrambled to contain the fallout. Hegseth told reporters that, quote, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans, end quote. Not so, says The Atlantic in its latest news article, reporting that the text messages laid out the exact time the attack plans were supposed to launch, what time the bombs were to strike, and when the drones were to be launched. The magazine also revealed that the text messages included comments from Defense Secretary Hegseth and others discussing their dislike for our European allies. Not surprising, our allies view the unsecured group chat as a security breach that could factor in on their decisions about sharing intelligence information with the United States. Allies aside, I can only imagine what such a reckless and irresponsible act by high-level defense and intelligence official does to the morale and confidence of the rank and file of the U.S. military, who depend on these top-level officials for their safety and security. Will anyone in the Trump administration be held accountable for this disaster? You would be held responsible if you shared a confidential business plan like this, and they should be held responsible too. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
Norman Robinson is back.
Can you hear me now?
And he's taking no prisoners.
Can you hear me now?
Each weekday, Norman Robinson brings you commentary with Off the Top.
The incident was shocking, disturbing, disgusting, disappointing, and sad.
Each weekday, Off the Top with Norman Robinson is heard exclusively right here.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
Jazz Fest 2025 is almost here. Don't miss Lil Wayne and The Roots, Lenny Kravitz, Burna Boy, Thames, Patti LaBelle, Trombone Shorty, Gladys Knight, Babyface, Tank and the Bangers, Branford Marsalis, Kamasi Washington, The Wailers, featuring Julian Marley, Lettucey Sings Nina, and hundreds more at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, presented by Shell, April 24th through May 4th. Tickets and info at nojazzfest.com. Miller Lite, official sponsor of Jazz Fest.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's Elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Hey, Pontchartrain Park. Thanks for listening to WBOK.
The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. A few minutes here before we get out. Coming up, we got Arnie and Carrie. Make sure you check them out. Coming up at 6 o'clock. What you say, Pop Jones?
Hey, G-Man.
What's going on with you?
I want to ask you a question, G-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there all my life. I can remember the time we would go on South Rampart and Claiborne, and excuse my French, we didn't give a hoot about no French quarters or going on Canal Street.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that we couldn't wait to get it. We had everything. Vendors. I remember what's his name over the kids? I think he's still with us. You know who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right offhand. He'd had the kids and all that stuff. He was right. It was just a beautiful thing, G-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But G-Man was that taking place when you first came?
What's that? What was taking place?
On Claiborne Street. That's where our carnival was.
No.
Okay. I know what I'm talking about.
Now I will say
you know
this.
something about it.
So let me throw this
Man,
into the,
that was
let me
our
throw this
carnival,
into your conversation, Pop.
man.
Let me throw this in your conversation. What was taking place, and when I said no, I probably should have added this in there when I said no. What was big when I first moved here, and I didn't understand it, but somebody did give me the history of it, was the fact that everybody was gathering underneath the bridge.
Oh man.
So when you saw the gathering of folks underneath the Claiborne Bridge, I think that also was a part of history where everybody came, not only just for, the King of Zulu and all that other stuff that was going on when Zulu was passing, but I also found out that was the place where a lot of folks gathered because of the Mardi Gras Indians. Before they
everything.
before they
man,
fanned
everything.
out. And
everything.
then people were bringing goods, selling goods and things of that
Oh
sort underneath
yeah.
that
Oh
bridge.
man, I had me a spot all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yes, indeed.
Selling cassettes.
What was you selling?
Cassettes.
Cassettes. What, you had your
Music,
mixtape?
yeah.
You had a mixtape?
No, did I make the tapes?
Yeah, I thought you were DJing or something. You had a mixtape?
No, I was selling them.
Oh, you just selling them. All right. Okay.
Selling. I was selling tapes. I still sell music.
Mm-hmm.
Records, CDs, stuff like that.
Yes, indeed.
But I couldn't wait to go on Claiborne Street. That's where everything was. All the vendors.
But I got a question for you. I got a question for you.
What's that?
How come there has not been anyone talking about, we got the Mecca, which is they call the French Quarter in Bourbon Street, but how come, especially with black businesses that aren't allowed to take part, and when I say aren't allowed, they're voted out. They are not being given the same opportunity, and then they put them through so much, I think, hypocrisy to have their businesses there that they try to price them out. So how come there has not been a conversation with city council, with their representatives about, let's open up another area of the city and make this the Mecca? Get us a design person that can put together some plans and say, this is what we need to do. We did that for the Morial Convention Center. We got that for the French Quarter. We don't have that for Claiborne. Only thing they did for Claiborne was paint those big old pillars.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that question that you asked, G-Man, like I've always said, we could solve a lot of our problems yesterday.
Yep.
So that's the reason why the enemy fight us the way they do. They know that we powerful, we can do better, but yet somehow or another, I don't know whether it's a group who holding us back.
That's what I'm trying
because
to figure out.
Okay.
Who's the
What
person or persons that's holding us back? You can't tell me it's a parking issue because you got the same parking issues in the French Quarter. So what?
Something in our minds, I guess. I don't know. Is slave mentality or what? I don't know what it is, man.
But that should be a conversation piece that's coming up with this new administration. We need to have another Mecca. A lot of people say they don't like to go to the French Quarter. They don't like to be on Bourbon Street. I guess, too, you got a
Man,
terrorist
I ain't
attack.
never cared nothing about the French Quarter.
So they need to have another Mecca here. So that's all.
Yeah, what nothing in the French Quarter for me.
I understand. All right, Pop. I got to get out. They're throwing me out.
Thank you for taking my call.
Appreciate you much, my friend. Thank you.
All righty.
All right, bye-bye. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap the show up today. I appreciate everybody for being a part of the conversation. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't go nowhere, though, because Arnie and Carrie coming up next. See y'all tomorrow.